I turned my ringer off, I swear.
Rent start.
We were just listening to some Rent. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Panel to Panel, your show about comics and everything pertaining to. I'm Spin Dash. With me tonight are my co-hosts, the Space Chief.
Hello, everybody.
Jules.
Hello.
And our special guest tonight, who has I don't know, going through his IMDb page, it's like miles long. It's, you know, you get lost in the sea of IMDb credits. But he's worked on films that you may know about. I don't know, they're little indie films called WALL-E, Lion King. You know, very little. I don't think they made any money. They were very little independent films, probably shown at Cannes Film Festival. Mr. Bruce Zick. Bruce, thank you for being on the show with us tonight.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, absolutely. And I will say we were talking before the show about his great mustache, because we all know with great mustache comes great responsibility.
I do know that.
I think it's you have no responsibility. I think they changed that.
If they said great mustache, no responsibility, I don't know why I'm at what I'm doing at work every day. I have no clue. No clue, man.
I actually used to do that, the wax out thing for a while. I had a really long one for a little bit.
I don't know why more people don't do it. What's wrong with people? What's wrong with men these days?
Mainly it just became just more time consuming than I was willing to deal with my facial hair. But I did like it when I had it. My wife loved it. She wished I would have kept it.
Well, you know, when you see old photos and you look at historic movies and guys just had the greatest mustaches in old times.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I mean, come on, it's the way to go. Maybe we're just way ahead of our time.
Could be.
Maybe I think I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna take Jules and tie her to a railroad track.
And you have to wear a top hat.
All right, but not only did he work on those great films, he also worked on shows like the Real Ghostbusters, Thundar the Barbarian, correct?
Yes. We're strolling down memory lane here in the way back machine.
Well,
those shows were things that Spin and I grew up on. I mean, those were, you know, I'm I don't want to make you feel like you're old or anything. You're not. I'm just saying. When growing up, Thundar was seriously what I looked forward to. Thundar every single week. I loved it, and when it was gone, I was sad when they took it off the air.
And you know why I love Thundar, Chief? Because it was created by Steve Gerber, who created Howard the Duck.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I met Steve at the studio there. Yeah, Thundar was way ahead of the curve for TV animation back then. I think they really tried to do something very different, and of course they had Jack Kirby as the key designer of the show, and that's where I met Jack Kirby. Was bringing in his briefcase with his week of assignment drawings that he was turning in, and that was just like the greatest moment in my life almost.
I can imagine. That's incredible.
Jack Kirby created Devil Dinosaur.
Devil Dinosaur? I think Devil Dinosaur is greatly misunderstood.
As well as Commandy.
Oh, no, Commandy was great. I think Commandy got great recognition. Devil Dinosaur divides people into two camps, I think.
And, of course, his great work on books like X-Men and...
Yeah, but that was then. What has he done lately?
Not a lot. The family was trying to get some bucks, I think, just recently. There was a lawsuit.
More power to him. I hope they get it, because he at least equally co-created the entire Marvel universe. So
I believe that as well. We had Arlen Schumer on, who was a big advocate for Jack Kirby's estate too. That believes it's a 50-50 thing, that they should have given him at least 50% of the credit. But let's get into the zone continuum.
Take it away, Chiefy. Take it away.
You've already, I sent you this, right? I sent you.
Are we going to talk about something? Okay.
Let's give us a little background on the history.
Fantastic Four.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just talking.
Okay. Well, when I was just a lad, I did my very first comic book series that I both wrote and illustrated. It was for Caliber Press back in the early 90s, and it was called The Zone Continuum. It was a black and white series, and I used this duo shade magic paper technique to do the shading technique on it, and so it had kind of a different look to it than just plain black and white. And the interesting experience I had doing it was that I got the most amazing letters on this book. It sold, at the low end of what was selling back then, but I had a very, very rabid fan base, and so it ran for 4 books. It took me a couple years to do the 4 books, and then I just moved on into animation, and then I started working for Marvel and Dark Horse and other studios. But I was never able to forget the Zone Continuum series. And finally, I just felt like, okay, now's the time. I got to try to bring it back. So that's what started the Kickstarter. Is I can get a publisher to do it, but it's better if I can produce and finance the books myself and bring it to the publisher, rather than trying to convince them to risk the money to pay me to do the book. So that's why I'm trying to raise the money myself to do it.
That kind of segues into the another question that I had here was, how do you think it would be different if you would have had to do that? If one of the big publishers said, okay, we're going to publish it, how do you think the book would turn out differently than just doing it with your own vision and doing it yourself?
You mean, say, Marvel and DC, or because Dark Horse gives you a huge freedom. I mean, you can basically do exactly what you want if you work with Dark Horse Comics.
Okay, yeah. See, I think I assume, I don't know if everybody else assumes, but I assume that like Dark Horse and Image, even though they're indie companies, like they're kind of getting up there to be their own kind of, to be big publishers themselves, really. I think with the Image especially is coming out with some breakout series, but yeah, I didn't realize it was that different between Marvel and the independents.
And the other was Atlas, and they let me run with it. I actually was kind of begging for some editorial input because I felt like I didn't know exactly what I was doing. But they really had have a hands-off policy with creators to leave them alone, and then maybe dot their I's and cross their T's, and that's about it. So, but if Marvel or DC did it,
so you think they were doing a lot of? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I had a little mic glitch. It was on a delay.
I'm sorry. You were saying?
Oh, I was saying, yeah. I guess with the, I wasn't sure about how the independents would work, but how do you think Marvel would have approached it, or a DC, like one of the big two would have? Do you think they would have just edited a lot of editorial notes, or they just stood over your shoulder?
Well, they would first not give you any rights to it. You would sort of lose control of it, and they would almost turn you into a work-for-hire kind of person on your own book. And then, yeah, they would have a big bureaucracy, looking over your shoulder and making all sorts of changes. It would probably be an awful experience, but I'm only saying that having had the freedom to do it my way, but I think it would be exciting for everybody to get their own book with Marvel or DC. That would still be a great. It just means they're listening right now. I think it would still be a good experience, but it would be somewhere else.
Well, make sure, just real quick interject, make sure if you're following along with us tonight, you can tweet us at spin-p2p, spin-review, and you can ask your questions to Bruce. Now, with the book, is it going to remain black and white? You're going to keep it as a black and white book?
I'm still torn about that. I like black and white now even more than I did years ago. I think seeing what Frank Miller did with Sin City sort of like reinvigorated my thinking about black and white. But I'm also thinking, well, color is pretty exciting too. So I honestly don't know yet which way to go. I'm sort of torn.
I looked at the artwork you had on the website for it, and I think it just looks amazing in black and white. Personally, I like a lot of black and white books. I like the old Dark Horse Alien series that they did in black and white, and and like The Walking Dead and like Dark Horse Presents. They did a lot in black and white stuff back in the old days, and I love black and white stuff. And like Savage Sword of Conan magazine and stuff like that. I love the old Marvel magazines that were in black and white.
Right. Right.
I would welcome that.
I just don't know. I maybe it's like Hellboy has very black, simple color, and it's basically a black with color again, and that's one way to go. I think that I just love Dave Stewart as the colorist on Hellboy, and I think that's just the best looking book out there.
Yeah, that's amazing. The Hellboy and the new series it's just that the light and shadow that Mignola and the colorists get out of some of those books is mind blowing.
So that wouldn't be a bad way to go. I need some spiritual guidance, or I need some epiphany, somebody to call and tell me what to do. If somebody calls, I'd appreciate it.
I have your number, Bruce. I'll
call and tell me what to do.
I have permission.
Yes.
It's always good to have permission, Chief.
Well, I tried just ordering people around, just without permission, and they usually hang up.
Yeah, we do.
Spin doesn't do anything I say.
Of course not. Why would I listen to you?
I'm very susceptible and compliant, so you can talk with me.
Some over-the-phone hypnosis. So, will the Zone continue? Are you looking at an ongoing series, or is this? Do you have a already beginning, middle, and an end, like a wrap-up to it done, or do you plan to just continue on telling more stories?
I'm formulating the new story right now, but I think I'd like to do it as a 4-book mini-series, and take it one mini-series at a time, and try to see if I can restrain my thinking into doing a smaller story where I don't try to overwhelm people with too much, and just go from point A to point B, put that out, and then do another series.
Gotcha.
That gives you a little bit more of a rest between books to kind of figure out what the heck you're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Cullen Bunn does with the Deadpool series. He does like little 4-issue series, and they all kind of go together, but they come out kind of sporadically, 4 at a time. Like Night of the Living Deadpool, Deadpool Kills Deadpool. They were all like 4-issue little mini-series, but they're all kind of connected. So I like that idea. Not that my opinion matters a whole lot, but
you are the consumer, Chief. You are the consumer. Therefore, you have a lot of say in what goes on because you're the consumer.
I am writing notes down on everything you say, Space Chief.
That's always a good idea.
Maybe
nuggets of wisdom come out.
Yes, I might gain wisdom by the end of the show and know what to do.
I doubt it, but
if you gain wisdom off of this show, we need to go back to the drawing board.
I'll be shocked.
Why else do people tune in?
They like the guests and they like to laugh at us.
They tune in for Jules.
Jules mainly Jules.
Mainly, it's all Jules.
But I like the idea of a book coming out every month. I think there's something sort of exciting about that kind of ongoing continuity.
Oh wow!
That makes it a real hard job, but that kind of continuity is really cool.
Yeah, no kidding, totally.
I mean, I sometimes
just FYI for everybody. Just FYI for everybody watching. Just an FYI for everybody's watching. I just got the tweet. Last week's episode is now up on followingthenerd.com.
Yay!
So you can go check it out. Last week with Dwayne Venstra, but I'm sitting here and I'm checking for questions from our viewers, and it's like, oh, our last week's episode's up. Okay, cool, awesome.
Good announcement.
Good announcement. Now with the Zone Continuum, of course, it's in Kickstarter right now. When does that Kickstarter end?
I think there's 20 days left until July 3rd. So there's lots of time.
And where are we
Everybody
sitting
get on
at? Where are we sitting at on that?
Oh, it's pretty pathetic right now.
Oh,
I'm too embarrassed to say how low it is, but if you go there, you can see it. But it's for who knows what number of reasons, it's not really getting traction, and so that's just the way it is.
All right, you hear that, panel-to-panel audience? Get out there and support Bruce. I've looked at the artwork on the website. The artwork is amazing. I'm looking forward to the book coming out. So all you people that follow the show, go out there and help Bruce out. Because I'm telling you, go check it out. It's amazing artwork. It's an amazing idea. Good story. Go check it out and contribute.
Hey, Jules, you got 2,600 Twitter followers. Get on it. Get them on there.
I didn't realize that you had a Kickstarter until like the other day, but I usually try as much as I can to promote them because they're so important. And a lot of people are still new to Kickstarter. They don't know how it works. They don't know a lot about it. Like, I just found out about it like 6 months ago, and I'm like kickstarting everything. I'm like, everything. I'm like, I can't afford to do this every time. And there's so many good projects out there, so I kind of have to, like I was saying last episode, I have to, like, spread it out and, like, give a little bit to this Kickstarter, a little bit to this one.
We need to get Jules a coin. There's got to be, like, a Kickstarter's Anonymous so Jules can start getting her, like, I'm 30 days clean of not giving money to Kickstarter. But then she'd feel bad. But then she would feel bad.
It's an addiction, but it's funny because, like, I will donate or I will pledge, and then like I forget about it. So like 30 days later, I'm like, what is coming out of my account? Oh yeah, Kickstarter, 30 days.
That happened to me too. I bought there was a game called Evolve that somebody put together, and it's about you make different creatures and through evolution in this game, and I had totally forgotten I'd supported that, and then like $34 came out of my account a month later. I'm like, what is this? I can't. What did I buy?
Yeah.
But then I figured it out. But it's all good.
But I don't think people understand that they really don't have anything to lose because if they pledge and say it doesn't get funded, they don't get charged for it. Like a lot of people don't understand how it works. So if even if you just pledge like $20, you're still helping, and you get.
And I think what else people don't understand is they're not just giving you only money. You actually get stuff for your money. There's a trade going on where you get any number of freebies and goodies and gratifying experiences. I'll send you stuff, either digital content or I'll send you, some of these books. I actually have the original Zone Continuum books to give away as incentives, as well as getting the new book when it comes out. People that donate certain levels, they'll get an amazing amount of stuff the more you get it, and it even ramps up at getting some original artwork or a page from the strip or I'll come and wash your windows. So
I want that pledge.
It's not just a one-way sort of. So I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think so too. I'm fairly new to it too, but Jules has actually inspired me to. I didn't really know much about it either. I'm an old go to the local comic shop, buy my comics kind of guy that doesn't. And Bruce knows I spent a long time trying to figure out the technology for this show earlier tonight, and I'm an idiot. So Kickstarter is kind of a new idea to me, but Jules kind of inspired me to get involved with them, and I've supported a few of them, and I will be supporting this one for everyone out there who wants to know, because I really dug the artwork, and I think it's cool, and the incentives sound cool to me. So I can thank Jules for turning me on to Kickstarters.
Yay!
I hate going to a comic book store and everything's in case. You can't look at the comics in the store. Like you have to take it into a corner where nobody's watching you and peel off the Scotch tape and take the book out and go, oh, is this a book I want to buy? It's a little bit too precious in some comic book shops.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I've been around mine long enough that I just do what I want in there. I just walk behind the counter and grab what I want. I don't care.
All right, so I have actually pulled up your IMDb page.
Oh no!
I have pulled it up, and I just want to run through some of these that you worked on as a character.
Bruce,
well, no, I'm not going to embarrass you, but you've worked as a background designer, character designer, on so many things. You worked on Tiny Toons, which was like my show growing up. I mean, Tiny Toons. Who doesn't love Tiny Toons?
It was an amazing show in its time. It really was.
Oh, it really did kind of, for me, Tiny Toons was one of those shows that even today I can pull up and watch and laugh my rear end off, just because the jokes were classic Looney Tunes jokes in a new environment.
It's in syndication, I think, on the Hub right now. I think they're replaying them all.
Yeah.
That's where I met Bruce Timm, actually. Bruce Timm was a storyboard artist on Tiny Toon Adventures, and they had Paul Dini, I think, was working on it. They had a lot of really great talent in those first couple of years. It was
right. That's amazing.
It was a huge, huge, fun project.
Well, even going back, it says here you worked on the Plastic Man Comedy Hour with Plastic Man.
Yeah,
that's like my generation growing a little. I was a kid when that came on, and I love that.
Way back now, but yeah, that was my first job in working for producers, and they were doing Mighty Man, Rocket. And
say that one more time. Say that one more time. I got a little digital. It ended up getting a little digital. So can you say that one more time?
Yeah, we got a little static in that last comment.
Okay. Yeah. That first year I worked in animation. It was on Plastic Man and a couple other shows. One was called Mighty Man and Yuck. Yuck was a dog that wore a doghouse over his head, and Mighty Man was about 4 inches tall.
I remember that show.
And then there was Rickety Rocket, which was an all African American cast, and there was even a rickety old car that was African American. And so it was a weird studio to work at back then.
You worked on Mr. T.
Yes.
Wow. I pity the fool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what, and now that was the one where where it was him and like all of them gymnastic kids, right? It was like.
I think so. You know.
And the dog with the mohawk.
It's all a blur to me now.
Well, I'll just keep going. Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Right.
It says here you did an episode of Dragon's Lair.
Yes.
You did Kissy Fur.
Yes.
Johnny Quest. Visionaries. Right. Knights of the Magic Light. Jules, Barbie and the Rockers. The Real Ghostbusters, which, hello, everybody loves that classic show.
That was a very, very cool series. The Real Ghostbusters, the first year especially, was an amazing group of talented guys, and they were just on breaking all the barriers.
Yeah, you had Lorenzo Music and all them in there.
Did you guys ever see Kid Video?
Yes. I remember Kid Video.
Kid Video. That was
I vaguely remember
Kid Video was one of the wildest, craziest shows on Saturday morning, and it was the same group that then went and did the Real Ghostbusters, and they were just blowing everybody away. They were the dream team of Saturday morning.
And now, before we get into a show that everybody loves, first, Jules, Wall-E, did some work with Wall-E. Jules, one of your favorite movies?
Ah.
Oh, yeah. I love Wall-E. I can't even. I love Eva. I love all the characters. It's
Yeah.
such a charming story of, like, Wally's just, he's so cute, he's so humble, and he, like, when Eva was sick, or not sick, but when she, like, shut down, he, like, took care of her, and, like, I just love it.
Yeah,
And
the first half hour that was all silent, there was no dialogue. I couldn't believe how brave that was to do a movie that way in this sort of market of people wanting to be safe. But they originally thought the whole movie would have no English spoken in it whatsoever, that the alien society would be these blobby, gelatinous creatures. They wouldn't be humans of the future. So there would be it would be either a silent movie or a movie only spoken in gelatinese or something. But then eventually they gave up and decided that it had to have English in it. So it could have been a much different, even stranger movie.
I think didn't Ridley Scott say he wanted to do something like that with Prometheus at first, and then that ended up changing too. I think originally the original idea for Prometheus was to be about just the alien race.
Oh, really?
Like the geneticists, and there was going to be no English in the movie at all. It was all going to take place in space and on this alien ship. So I would have liked to have seen that, though.
You think like Ridley Scott should be able to do whatever he wants to do at this point, don't you think?
Yeah. Ridley Scott, just do your thing.
By now.
Absolutely.
Now you did visual development on another Disney film, which I don't know why people scoff when I say it has one of my favorite Disney villains of all time. That's The Rescuers Down Under, because that movie has
one of my favorite animated movies ever. I thought the animation in that movie was amazing.
No, wait, but you're not just like saying this because I'm your guest.
No.
I saw this. I saw Rescuers Down Under just on a whim with a little cousin or something when it first came out, and I had seen the original Rescuers when I was a kid, and I was just going with like with family to see it. And when the big golden eagle flies through that movie, I thought this is the most amazing animation I think I've ever watched at the time.
Well, I'm sort of getting the feeling like I had a profound influence on your childhoods.
I was very eager to have you on because when I saw your page, I was like, this guy worked literally on my entire childhood.
Okay. Well, if you want negative, my sister is 6 years younger than me, and she saw that movie for about a year after watching that movie. She had an imaginary friend named Marahute, who was the eagle. So everywhere we went, we're in the car, and she's like, "Mommy, Marahute's following us. Marahute is going to fly with us." And I'm sitting there, I'm going, "There is no freaking Marahute. Shut up." But no, literally, everybody knows, I think I said on the show before, I'm kind of eclectic when it comes to Disney villains. Everybody thinks, oh, Maleficent's the greatest villain, or the Queen from Snow White. I've always loved McLeach from Rescuers Down Under because it was George C. Scott. Right. And George C. Scott I love George C. Scott, Patton, and I think he was the best Ebenezer Scrooge who ever lived. I think his version of Ebenezer Scrooge was the best.
His Exorcist movie is highly underrated, by the way.
It is. He was also in Dr. Strangelove.
My favorite George C. Scott. You know what my favorite George C. Scott line is in film history?
What's that?
No.
You owe me money. What was that from?
Oh God, what was that one from? You have to give it to me because I'm drawing a blank right now.
The Hustler with Paul Newman.
That's right.
I remember it. I can hear the voice saying it, but I couldn't remember either where it comes from.
Now, I did have a gripe as I got older and I started reviewing movies. I did have a gripe with The Rescuers Down Under, is that we never figured out if the animals that McLeach had captured ever got out of their cages. It was just left wide open. It's like, okay, the boy's saved, the eagle's saved, that's great, but the animals were still in the cage.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to contact somebody at Disney and tell them to let those animals go.
Well, it's kind of like we never got a resolution to the little boys who got turned into donkeys in Pinocchio. They those boys were never saved. They were still donkeys at the end.
That's right. Yeah, Disney actually tried to scare the hell out of people, I think.
Oh.
I was going to say, those early Disney movies teach you lessons, man. They're not pulling punches.
Now, I will say, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an animator for Disney. That was my dream when I was a kid. That's what I wanted to do. And when I was in school, I think I've told this story on the show before. I actually, in school, we had, I think it was middle school, I was probably 6th or 7th grade. They said, you need to pick what you want to do as an adult, and you need to write to somebody in that field and get information. So people were like, oh, I want to be a police officer, they'll write to police officer. I want to be a fireman, and they'll write to a fireman. I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to be a cartoonist. So I wrote to like Bill Watterson, Gary Larson, Chuck Jones. All of them replied back to me, by the way. But I also sent a letter down to the Walt Disney Company. And I got this big envelope in the mail probably about 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. And I open it up, and it's from the head of the animation department back in the mid-'90s. It says, okay, if you want to be an animator, here are the colleges you go to. Here are that we pick from. Here are the classes you need to take. Here's a list of all the movies we have done that are animated movies, to include like Make Mine Music, Melody Time, Fun and Fancy Free, movies I had never heard of at that time. But it was a personalized letter to me that I have somewhere in the house here that said, this is what you got to do to be an animator. Sadly, I ended up going into the Marines, and I never got to do my animation, but it's all good.
I appreciate it for
You're still young, Spin. You're a young man. You can do it now.
I'm working on a few things. I've got a couple things in that I'm working on. Chief and I have some new ventures. We're gonna talk.
Coming. Stay tuned, everybody. We got new projects coming.
Projects coming.
Is it Space or is it Chief?
I call him Chief. I call him Chief because he's like a brother to me.
And most everybody just calls me Chief.
He's my brother from a different mother.
Okay, Chief.
Now, the meat and potatoes that everybody wants to know about is your work on Batman the Animated Series, the greatest comic book television show that has ever lived. Am I right, guys?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to Tiny Toons knowing Bruce Timm, and then he went on to do that. That was a hard project for me because it had such a unique style. It was very kind of film noir looking, a lot of chiaroscuro lighting, and I had the hardest time adapting to it. I think I worked on 2 episodes actually, and then something else came along, but I didn't feel like I was cutting it that well on that show. But then when it came out and I saw it on TV, I thought, oh man, these guys, they really had a vision, and this is the coolest looking thing on TV.
I remember when that show premiered, when I first saw the first episode, and that intro was so different than anything you'd saw on Super Friends or the old Batman and Robin Saturday morning cartoon. It was Batman the way he was supposed to be. He was dark in the shadows. It just had that old kind of gangstery, like old Batman feel to it. And I was like, wow, I think they may have gotten this absolutely right for a change.
Yeah,
and I was right. They did.
Tim is a real student of animation and comics, and I think he wanted to bring some of that old Bob Kane sort of very graphic, very simplistic kind of hardcore drawing style to it, and I love that. I still love that Bob Kane sort of old Batman look.
Yeah, with the tall black bat ears and the kind of the membranous cape that he had.
We just started watching that. I think it's on Amazon Prime with my 9-year-old, and I was a little worried because I didn't know how she would watch it, since like her really only Batman cartoon she ever seen was Brave and the Bold, which is really lighthearted and funny. And so we were sitting down to watch it, and she was like glued. Her eyes were glued. And then we had to do something. So I was like, well, we're just going to watch one episode. And she's like, no. So like she loves Batman the Animated Series. She's the best thing. Yeah. And I'm so sad that we didn't have her watch that because she's been a Batman fan since she was born. So I'm so sad that we didn't like find it and just like let her watch it a long time ago because I was just worried that she wouldn't like it. But she loves it. So I'm happy that she likes it because I was worried.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the newer reincarnations, so I don't know if they're doing something interesting currently with those shows.
They're taking them in all sort of different directions with these new shows. There was Beware the Batman, which was CG, was computer generated. That's canceled. There was The Batman.
How was that?
I never watched Beware the Batman, to tell you the truth. I never was able to catch it in the mornings because I worked so much during the week. I just sleep through it on the weekends.
Yeah, same. I never really saw it either.
Jules, you watched it, right? Beware the Batman?
Yeah, we watched it, but I was the only one that liked it, so we just ended up not watching it anymore. So, but
I did see the one movie they made. They made the one Batman Dracula, like crossover kind of.
Yeah, that was The Batman. The Beware the Batman was the CG one where Alfred looked more like somebody out of James Bond than like the old Grizzle Butler.
Well, see, there you go. Batman the Animated Series. Watched every episode, loved it. Watched them multiple times. These other ones.
Hey, Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series gave me Harley Quinn. Okay, that's where Harley Quinn was born. So I loved it. But I would like to know, this isn't on the agenda that was sent, but I would like to know, what was your schooling with animation? Did you go to school professionally for animation? Were you doing it from did you start at a young age with drawing and art?
Well, I always drew ever since I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I just kind of got hooked into Superman and Batman comics back then, and I just wanted to draw them all the time. And I never really was professionally trained, and I was actually pretty lousy for most of my young life. And then I was living in Portland, and a friend of mine sent me an ad that they'd seen in a Los Angeles newspaper that this animation studio was looking for character designers. So I applied to it. I sent them some of my character designs, and they said, well, we can't promise you a job, but come on down, we'll interview you. And I went on down and showed them. And they said, well, we don't really get qualified for this, but maybe I could use you in the background department. So that's where I ended up getting my job, not being a character designer, but a background artist. But it was the old unionized studio system back then where you started as an apprentice. And they taught you. It was like going to school. You worked your way up from an apprentice to an assistant, and then like an assistant journeyman, and then a journeyman. They had all these different degrees of union's position that and each time you climb up one notch, you'd get a pay raise. But it was going to school, and it's a system that doesn't exist anymore. And I was really fortunate to be in that. And my boss, even to this day, I think my boss was one of the most talented guys I've ever seen, and I was just so lucky to. His name's Dave High, and he was just a giant talent, and he taught me how to draw basically. So nowadays, you already have to have the schooling, all the expertise, and then you get hired and you sit down and you just do your job. But back then, they were training people on the job. So I was really fortunate.
Well, that's very cool. Yeah, you don't hear that anymore anywhere. I mean, even the trade unions, it's hard to get into. I mean, they don't even.
I could go grab my very first drawing. I have it over here if you want to see it.
Please, yes, I would love that.
1 second.
I would love that. Yes, I deviated from your agenda, Chief.
That's fine. It wasn't meant to be like concrete.
Hey, I think Jules left to go get her first drawing too.
Okay. You tell me how good this is.
All right.
Let's see. a city, like a city street, like a background for a... Say something, Bruce, then your camera will pop up.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, this is the very first drawing I did on my first day, and as you can see, it's really pretty bad. Or maybe you think it's good. I don't know. But anyway.
I could look at it and say it's better than I could do.
I like it.
I didn't know how to figure out how big the door was compared to a window. I didn't know anything about perspective. I was just awful, and
that's amazing though that the studio actually trained you, and I mean really, in what better way is there to train to get a person who's going to do it your way than to bring them in and show them how you want it done? And I mean I actually, this has nothing to do with artistry or anything, but I worked for a screen printer for a number of years. We printed all kinds of different things, and he actually told me he actually looked for people that didn't know what they were doing. He said, because I find it easier if I bring somebody in off the street that knows nothing, and then I can show them the way I want it done, rather than they come in here with all kinds of ideas and they're going to do it more efficiently and they're going to mess something up. And so that, right. In a way, I kind of experienced that on a way lesser scale.
And I think a lot of people today, I think they don't understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, even though a lot of stuff is done CG now with computers and the CG, even cartoon shows now are doing a lot more CG than traditional art, but there still has to be a paper and pencil drawing for these character designs and backgrounds before it can be generated in the computer. Am I correct in that, or am I way off in the left field?
No, you're basically correct, although I think it's changing from year to year. I think a lot of people now are developing their drawing skills on a tablet, and that's how they're learning to draw. And so they're bypassing the paper, pen and ink or pencil step of it. But I'd say, people who are 30 and older right now probably do most of their thumbnail sketching and thinking on the paper, and then they get it into the computer, and then they take it from there.
It's not like back in the olden days where if you wanted to draw on a computer, you had a mouse, and you had Microsoft Paint, and you couldn't get a straight line to save your life.
Yeah. I've seen guys who...
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bruce.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, I was actually going to jump back to the Zone Continuum. I had a question from there that I was going to ask. I actually want to know, in the kind of the rundown that you give on the website, it says that the people in the Zone Continuum live in these ever-shrinking geomagnetic areas that are kind of collapsing in on themselves around the people. And I was wondering if that's some kind of commentary on world overpopulation. When the space is limited, people get nutty and they fight. Having not read the book, I'm just I was curious if that was some sort of social commentary in there.
But I've been told that I should have held these books up a little bit longer. These are some of the original Zone Continuum books.
Oh, those are nice.
They had color covers, but then inside it was all black and white. So, but I think it's a little bit of what you said and some other things too. But mostly, it's I hate to say it's a metaphor, but it's a metaphor about how we all sort of live in our barriers, our own zones that kind of box us in, and we're always trying to break out of our boxes and become different people. And the characters in the story are all struggling to live in their boxes and their zones, but these zones have become very dangerous places, and they're mutating because of global pollution. They're becoming very hazardous, and the inhabitants of the zones have to rely more and more on technology to survive and compete to do what they're trying to do. So It's all of the above. I think it's I always like to think the story can exist on its own without having to get the symbolism of it, and that it's just a good fun story. But I tend to try to think about those things symbolically when I'm writing it. But I try not to get too heavy-handed about it. But
I actually I thought of that when I was reading the rundown, and I myself am a very face value kind of guy. I usually don't look into things. It usually goes right past me. I'm a pretty face value guy with that kind of stuff. But that kind of struck me when you said this. It says the zones are actually shrinking. I was thinking it's kind of like in the world. I mean, the space is running out. We're kind of overpopulating ourselves right now, so it's kind of a. I don't know. I'm kind of a big idiot.
The main character is in
those kind of things.
Well, the main characters of the story, they live in Zone 27, which is in the heart of New York City, and Zone 27 is shrinking, and it's also the bottom of the zone is sort of rising, and the people that live in the Zone 27, they can't go outside of the zone or else they die. But what's happening is the zone is shrinking and rising up higher and higher, so they have to live higher and higher up in skyscrapers. They can't get down to the ground again and touch the. And so the story takes place in a nighttime rooftop penthouse sort of otherworldly kind of environment.
Ah, okay.
Very cool. I like that. Yeah.
I definitely want to read it. Are the older books still available? Can you find those anywhere? Are they online? Can you order them from you or?
I think if you just Google them, you can get back issues. I think they're still out there.
I am going to check that out.
I also did about 10 years ago. I reran the Zone Continuum as web episodes. And I did about 100 new digital sort of rebooting versions of the Zone Continuum that was a lot of fun. And I'm looking to that material too to try to decide what to do when I reboot the Zone Continuum this time after the Kickstarter. But it was fun taking the comic book material and then taking almost everything else I've ever done and jam it into a new web series and just expand the hell out of the story. Put in like Photoshop digital effects and stuff. And so one of these days I'll run that again. I'll find a way to put it up on some portal somewhere where people can see that web series.
That would be good. I would definitely be interested in seeing that. I'm going to look up the older books too, because I want to get in on this.
Well, you know what?
Sounds cool.
Well, you guys have been so good to let me be on the show. I'll mail some to you.
Hey,
oh, awesome!
That's even better.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's the least I can do. I'll tell you what else I'll do. I'll give you a new copy of my two new books. One is Mandala by Dark Horse, and the other one is The Atomic Legion.
Nice.
Atomic Legion. Very nice.
So you'll get a nice little gift package for me.
Well, that would be incredibly cool of you.
Yes.
I'll leave some paper airplanes and some stickers, pops, and also other things.
Awesome. So, Chief, you'll hook up with with our addresses.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
That's going to be awesome. So, with that, we've come to the part of the show where we like to ask fun questions called bomb questions. Because, as Batman said, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. So this goes out to everyone, and anybody watching, you can tweet us at spin-p2p or spin-review, and your answers to these, or you can pop them up on our Facebook page at facebook.com/panel-to-panel or /spin-productions, one of the two. Just look us up. It's on Facebook. You'll find it.
Space 75 or Panel to Panel Facebook.
Or Jules Hendricks at Jules Hendricks. Don't do it to Panda, Uni, Megan, or Pedro because they're not on tonight, and they'll get tweets and be like, "What the heck are these?"
What is going on?
Apparently,
someone asking me about Lady Sif.
Because apparently, Uni, and I will say this: the last couple episodes, the other panel members have not been on. They've been doing very busy. Panda is currently in New York with her new beau, Todd Emco, doing crazy stuff, and Uni's at Denver Comic Con, which apparently she was. Apparently, by Facebook, she was touched on the tushy by a member of the cast of The Walking Dead, Chief.
Hey, I didn't see that. I'll have to go look at it.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't look to see. If it was Herschel, I'd be laughing my rear end off. I'm hoping it's Maggie.
Hey, even better.
You know. But they'll be back on in the next coming weeks. But these are the fun questions. So, Chief, these are your fun questions. So you get to take these away, and you get to answer last, and I'll answer whenever.
Okay. The first question I have, of course, I wrote this one because I'm a Lady Sif fanatic. And Bruce can answer first, and if he doesn't have an opinion or an answer, we'll move on to Jules. These are totally up to you, Bruce, if you want to answer them or not. First up, Lady Sif or Jane Foster?
Lady Sif, definitely. Jane Foster was sort of wimpy, in my opinion. Sif was a real woman from head to toe, from elbow to ankle. I
like you even better than others. Oh.
She was a very important relationship.
And indeed, it is. It's quite important. Jules, you have to pick one. Imagine you're Thor. Who would you like more if you were Thor?
Lady Sif.
There you go.
Plus, if I pick Jane Foster, you might kick my butt, but I wouldn't pick her that anyways. I wouldn't pick her anyways. Yeah, Lady Sif. And by the way, speaking of Lady Sif, I was thinking, and I think I had an epiphany, we need a Lady Sif movie because the Thor movie's doing so well, the Avengers movies are doing so well, all the Marvel movies are doing well. So I think that because DC's not going to give us a Wonder Woman until like
2017.
2080.
No, 2017. There was actually news about it that a Wonder Woman movie is in production in 2017.
I missed it. Well, I was going to say that Marvel could just have a Lady Sif movie and then everybody would just forget about DC and it would just be great. But yeah.
Hey, I would be all for the Valerio Schiti, drawing a blank, but the Journey, the series from Journey into Mystery, the Berserker Sif.
Yeah,
I would love to see that storyline played out in the movie.
They have an opportunity. They should run with it.
The Berserker Sif? Did I miss that?
Yeah, she took Berserker magic for a minute, and then Heimdall had to banish her to some island to fight monsters until she burned it out of her system. And then she met up with a bunch of other Asgardians that were abandoned there because they used Berserker magic. And then she eventually came to her senses, and it turned into a really good series. But that's when they canceled Journey into Mystery. That was the last story arc they did was Berserker Sif.
I'm still mad about that because I just started reading it and then they canceled it.
I was very upset. I loved it.
If I wouldn't have bought it, maybe they would have
Jules!
Canceled it.
Spit! Except for Jane Foster.
Frank Castle.
You can't take my answer for everything, man.
Oh, okay. No, you know what? I gotta go with Lady Sif because as much as I adore Natalie Portman, if I'm thinking real person, I did not like her in those movies. I did not like Natalie Portman in Thor, and was it Jamie Alexander who plays Sif? I have a Slurpee cup. I have like 3 Slurpee cups with her on it, and I just drink out of her like all the time. So unless they're in like the dishwasher, then I have to drink out of Hiddleston's head. But but I have to go with Lady Sif. She's fantastic. I always felt she was better for Thor, and dang, Jamie Alexander, dang, just dang.
Yeah, she's a good version, but I also like the Journey version of Sif. She was more of a hulking a hulking Sif. She was big, so she was cool. What was my other question? I have more questions.
Yes, because we know you're Lady Sif all the way.
Of course, no matter. Enough said.
All right, what's your next question?
Next question. If you were given the same information about the super soldier serum that Steve Rogers was given and had no idea if it would result in the ultimate soldier or agonizing death, would you go through with it?
Boy, that's a tough one. I'd have to say, as a real person, really considering that being a father and a husband, I'd say no. But I could easily say yes in another life. Yes.
There you go. That's all these questions. Just kind of think of it as another life.
Well, what about if it was you could be a super soldier or really bad heartburn?
Well, I think I'd give it a shot. I'd chance it.
It's really bad acid reflux.
Jules?
I'm gonna have to say no, because I don't want to die, and I wouldn't want to take a chance that just that would make me die, and then I'm just only however old I am, and then I'm dead. But if I knew for sure that I was getting, that I wasn't gonna die, I would say yeah, but I would have to say no, sadly.
Okay. Spin, having actually been a soldier, he's going to have a unique perspective on this question. So, Spin?
Well, I will say first and foremost, and I'm not getting on you, Marines hate to be called soldiers. Just so you know. This is for anybody out there.
Because I'm not a Marine.
That's why I'm telling you. And I'm telling you for everybody watching. Marines are Marines. We are not soldiers. We are Marines. The Army soldiers. You want soldiers, you go to the Army. But of course, because I already took it. Every Marine takes the super soldier serum. Why do you think we're the best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be? So we already took it. So yeah. And I was the one that they said get that flag, and I just pulled the pin out of the flagpole, and it fell over, and I got the flag and got the ride in the Jeep. Got the ride in the Jeep with Haley Atwell. Agent Carter.
That really happened.
It really happened. Actually, no, it was more like we went on a 6-mile freaking hump with everything on our packs. And when I say hump, I mean it's a long march, not what other people may think.
So you say.
Yeah, we had that. It was a camel. The camel said it. Hump day. It's a hump day.
All right, my answer is absolutely. I'm taking it either way, because the way I look at it is it's the middle of the year. World War II's going on. You don't know if the world's going to end anyway. There's a race for these crazy powerful weapons of destruction. Hitler's trying to do crazy stuff. The Nazis are taking over Europe. I'm thinking I can take this stuff, become a super soldier, maybe go in this war, or not take it and just stay here and be meek little me and let Hitler take over the world, and I'm going to die anyway. So I might as well. And during World War II, I'm definitely taking it. If I'm given the opportunity.
What about today?
Today, probably still taking it.
That's because you live in Rockford, Illinois, and you need the super soldier serum in Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford, Illinois, the 9th most dangerous city in the world.
You need that super serum.
At least in the United States, not in the world. I'm sure some places in India are probably more dangerous, but.
Yeah.
All right, and you got one last question for the bomb questions.
One final bomb question. If you could pair up any two actual historical figures from any 2 points in world history to create the weirdest sci-fi comic book ever, which two would you pick?
Ooh.
Anyone in world history.
And we can come back to you if you're stumped.
Hercules and Heathcliff the cat. No, wait a minute. How about if I take a pass and think about it and you move on?
Yep.
All right, we'll do that. Jules, any ideas?
I did not prepare for this question.
I did.
I want to say, can it just be anybody? Like, does it have to be like history back then, or can it just be like, because everybody?
Anybody from any time in world history. It could be people now alive. Could be people that are long dead. Could be anyone.
How about Napoleon and Justin Bieber?
There you go. That's a good one. That's very similar to my answer, but you'll see what mine is in a minute. And spin.
I am putting together Vlad Tepes and Groucho Marx.
Okay. Well,
I think it
ridiculous now.
I think that would just be hilarious. You have a cruel, evil, vindictive dictator from the past that used to do horrific things with his captives, and you got the greatest quick man in the ever lived, Groucho Marx, the greatest fast draw on the come back with a smart remark in the world. That would be the greatest, and they have to fend off an alien invasion. So you got Tepes the warrior and Groucho the thinker.
All right, good enough. All right, mine is. Okay, let's let Bruce go, and then I'll go last if he's ready.
I would take. I actually still want to go back to the Hercules. If you ever saw Jason and the Argonauts, there was a very cool version of Hercules that I don't think has ever been bested. So I would take that sort of Hercules and combine them with Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. So you have the brain and the brawn working together. Total opposites. Think of the possibilities.
There you go. Kind of a little similar to Spins, kind of. That's makes sense to me. Mine is absolutely ridiculous now. You guys have good ones, and mine was going to be Warren G. Harding and Snoop Dogg's little homie Warren G. It would have been perfect. Warren G. and Warren G. I don't know if anybody even is going to get that reference.
That's like putting George Washington and George Washington Carver together.
Even better. And they had to fight zombies.
Well, with that, Bruce, we thank you for being with us. We've got a couple topics that we want to talk about comics. You're more than welcome to stay with us if you would like, or if you've got to go and do something, you're more than welcome if you need to go.
Well, if I do stay, can I just like fade away into oblivion, or should I like say goodbye if I stick around and then have to go?
Well, we were going to let you like plug the Kickstarter.
Yeah, we want you to plug the Kickstarter.
Plug the hell out of everything you got.
All right.
Then it's up to you if you want us to hang out or if you got to get on your way. That's cool too.
I'll sort of pretend that I'm leaving and do all that, but then I'll stick around and you never know when I might say something.
Sounds great to me.
It's kind of like
thank you guys. I'm here to plug my Kickstarter, but I also wanted to mention again that I've got two very cool new books out from Dark Horse Comics. One is The Atomic Legion, which is a book that is for sort of the whole family can read it, really. It's got something for everybody in it. It's the kind of book maybe you used to read when you're real little that they don't make anymore, and it's really a super fun adventure. And the other book is Mandala, which is also out by Dark Horse, and it's a more dark, very adult, sort of social call to arms to wake up and change the world, but it deals with world mythologies and characters who evolve into avatars where they have higher powers because they become self-aware. So it's a very, very cool different book. And then back to the Zone Continuum, if you go to Kickstarter and then just enter in the Zone Continuum, you'll see the Kickstarter campaign, and I'm trying to raise the funds to jumpstart with Kickstart the new Zone Continuum series. So I appreciate having a chance to talk about those things, and you guys have been great.
Well, thank you.
And I'll just kind of linger in the back.
Well, I would like to say your career, like I said, that your career has been a huge part of all of our childhoods here. So we are honored to have you on. Feel free to hang out, and everybody go support Bruce's Kickstarter and pick up his books. Just a great artist. Go look at his website. Go check out his stuff. Fantastic guy. Great guest. And thank you for being here, Bruce.
Thank you.
And I would actually like to extend, once we read your 2 Dark Horse books, I would like to extend the invitation for you to come back on the show so we can talk more in depth on your 2 books that are out from Dark Horse.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to do that because they're very unusual books in today's market, and I would love to hear what you guys think about them.
I'm a big indie guy. I read a lot of I read a lot of Dark Horse. Strangely enough, I read a lot of the Conan books, and Hellboy for sure, and I love black and white books too. I love monochromatic kind of black and white, gray tone books. I love that. That hits me where I live. So definitely, we'll be getting those, and definitely come back. We'll talk about that stuff too.
That'd be awesome. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, Jules, Hall of Superman.
Oh, yes, Superman Hall of Heroes. I forgot. Yeah, so you can, I don't know what the exact website is, but you just type in Superman Hall of Heroes, and you can nominate a hero into the Superman Hall of Heroes.
Me.
I was going to say me.
Yeah.
It is Superman. It is SupermanHallOfHeroes.com.
Oh, well, that's that's simple enough.
I would nominate you, Spin.
There's different donation levels or something. So I don't know. I was looking a little bit earlier. So you can donate I think to Supergirl, it's $24 or something. And then you get stuff with it. So it's just I just think it's a really good thing. You can nominate anybody you want, any heroes in your life. And I just really like that. I think that's great.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
there's.
Cool. What is that again? Give out that email. What is that website?
It is SupermanHallOfHeroes.com. You have a couple different levels. There's level 1 and level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 4, which is really cool, you get induction into the Superman Hall of Heroes, a T-shirt, a water bottle, a Superman cape, a hat, an induction certificate, membership card. There's a sports package, there's a Supergirl package, and there's a Dale Earnhardt Jr. package.
Really? Why?
I don't know.
That's puzzling.
Yeah.
Dale Jr. package.
Well, level 1, if you just want to do you get the induction into the Superman Hall of Heroes, and it's only $4.99, and you get a certificate, a social media profile picture, and a social media cover picture that you can download. So it's only $5, and you can nominate someone to,
Somebody nominated Shaquille O'Neal.
What?
Did they really?
Now, they did. They nominated. Well, Christopher Reeve is in here. Rightfully so, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some guy. There's a chef.
Superman.
This is the celebrity heroes. There's very few of them.
I guess Dale Earnhardt has Superman on his car.
Oh, okay. I'm not a NASCAR guy, so I wouldn't know that. So Dale Earnhardt fans, don't come after me.
If you want to know anything about Superman, you need to ask my husband because he knows more than anybody I know.
I bet he does. He probably knows a lot more than I do.
And
I know quite a bit, and he still knows more than I do.
But yeah, that's a great thing. They nominated the National Guard. I work for the National Guard in my civilian job, working with my fellow veterans for the National Guard. So that's a really good thing to see the National Guard in there. I really enjoy that. So yeah, SupermanHallOfHeroes.com. Go support your heroes. Go ahead and put some heroes in there. Chief, Original Sins started this week.
It did start this week, and I don't know what I think about it. Did you read it?
I have not read it. I have not read it yet. I haven't read it yet. I know it's starting off with the Young Avengers.
Yeah. See, I don't even read Young Avengers, so it just kind of threw me off right away. I read. That's the only book I read. I had Walking Dead down here too, but I haven't even read that yet. So we could really only talk about the 12 seasons they're planning.
Well, I think Original Sins, because they're like compilations of like the other heroes. I think that's the book where I think there's going to be the Howard the Duck story.
I'm buying it, but it didn't hit me with Young Avengers right away because I'm just not a Young Avengers guy. Like Hulkling, it's like come on, man.
There's only one Hulk. Come on, it's Lou Ferrigno.
Bruce Banner.
Jules, did you pick it up? Original Sins?
We did not even get our comics this week yet because of our car situation. So
oh, that's right.
Hopefully, we're thinking tomorrow we might try, or this weekend we'll try to get them.
Now, is your car in the shop, or are you getting a new one?
No, I think it's the starter, and I have somebody that one of my friends can put it in for me. So I'm just gonna buy the part, and he's just gonna put it in for me.
Let's say, come on, get a new car. Go get that. That Jules mobile.
I'll get a new car tomorrow.
Something with like automatic windows. They make those now. You don't have to.
Automatic windows.
I know. I drove your Jeep when I was up there that one time. Remember?
That you roll down yourself?
Yeah.
Oh no, mine are electric.
I know. I drove your Jeep. Remember, I was up there. Keith and I went to the flea market.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's.
Remember what you're on the lookout for me when you go to the flea market from now on.
Old games.
There was a lot of them when I was there. That's where I got my. It's up here somewhere. My box Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
We haven't been there in a few weeks, but next time I go, I'll definitely look. Because they do have a lot. They have them all just sitting out there.
Yeah, I'll send you a list of what I got and what I'm looking for if you ever see them. Don't spend more than like $2 or $3 on a game, unless it's like Mecca. I learned a lot from Pat the NES Punk in his Flea Market Madness videos where he goes to flea markets. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chief, you just mentioned it that they've got like another like 7 seasons already planned for The Walking Dead, or they want to go 7 seasons on The Walking Dead.
I'm not exactly sure how to feel about that either, because it seems now they've got the show plotted out further than the comic is actually plotted. It's like 7 years. They're already at where in the comic books it would be like the where they're at Terminus. So it's kind of like the Hunters. So it's kind of right there. It's kind of just before they get to before they head to Washington. So 7 years from now, the show could be anywhere. I don't know how they're planning it out that far. I guess Kirkman's involved though, so I guess he knows what he's doing.
It'll be interesting to see. I already know fans right now. They're all clamoring for Negan. They want Negan in the show, and hoo-ha? Did I hear what?
Too soon is what I said.
Okay. Yeah, it's too soon. You're like me, Chief. Terminus, we think is like the
Hunters.
The beginning of the Hunters storyline.
Yeah, it's kind of they're obviously cannibals. Oh, I think Bruce left.
Yep. Bruce. Thank you so much for being with us. Chief, make sure you send him a nice little message.
Oh, I will. Yeah, and definitely. Thanks for coming on, Bruce. And that was Bruce had planned that. He said he was just going to fade out.
Yep.
At the end of the show. So Bruce didn't get. I hope I'm not wrong, but for everybody watching or listening, Bruce didn't get mad and just leave. He had planned to just cut out at some point.
Yes, we were very conscientious of our guest. But
Try to be.
But Jules, you'll be happy because they did announce Wonder Woman, Flash, and Green Lantern movies to be announced at Comic-Con by Warner Brothers.
Nice. That's awesome.
The studio will officially schedule standalone movies for Shazam and Wonder Woman, as well as the Justice League movie. It also they will also unveil plans for a joint Flash and Green Lantern film for 2017.
Nice.
As well as
Flash Green Lantern film?
Flash Green. This is what they got right now.
You are kidding.
Here's the timeline. This is the schedule they have right now. And you are going to laugh, and Pedro is going to literally like kill himself. All right, May 2016, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. We knew that one. July 2016, Shazam. December 2016, Sandman. May 2017 will be Justice League. July 2017 will be Wonder Woman. December 2017 will be The Flash and Green Lantern Adventure. And May 2018 will be Man of Steel 2.
Really?
Man of Steel 2 in 2018. So right now it looks like because they've got pictures of Gal Gadot, who's going to play Wonder Woman in Dawn of Justice. They have the picture of Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
And you know what? Facial wise, I could see her as Wonder Woman, but I have to see body wise, because at the top of this article I'm reading, which is on the Mirror from the UK, they have Ryan Reynolds. They have the new guy who's playing the Flash in the CV series, and they have Linda Carter. God, Linda Carter is beautiful.
Linda Carter.
I love Linda Carter.
She's held up pretty good over the years.
Oh, she has. Did you ever see her in Sky High? Has either of you watched Sky High?
I have. Isn't she like the principal?
Yeah, I did see that.
Of the school?
Years ago.
She's the principal? She's the principal in that movie? It was a few years ago, but she was the principal. I was like, oh my god, how cool is it? Wonder Woman is the principal at Sky High. And Bruce Campbell's the gym coach.
She was. I mean, she was Wonder Woman in her day. There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I pulled up pictures of Gal Gadot. She is like super thin.
Yeah.
There's like no meat on her bones whatsoever.
Well, if you saw a picture of Chris Hemsworth before Avengers, he was a tiny kind of a guy too, but
yeah.
Then he got ripped for Thor.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been listening to podcasts this week on the way to and from work. Like Jules, you listen to a lot of podcasts. I've probably been listening to different podcasts than you've been listening to, though. I've been listening to Steve Austin Unleashed and the Ross Report wrestling podcast, and they've been given tips of like how to get in shape and stuff. So I'm gonna start doing. I might go get me some DDP yoga and do some. I might do some DDP yoga. What else? There's been like so much news coming out because they said that. So Jules, you can put that out that yes, there will be a Wonder Woman movie.
Thank goodness, jeez.
Still no word on Jim Caviezel being cast as anything yet, though.
Yeah, it's a lost cause. Poor guy. He got typecast as Jesus. And I don't think it's no secret. I'm not, a big religious guy, but I watched when that movie first came out, Passion of the Christ. We watched it. We were in Iraq and we watched Passion of the Christ, and we were like, "Oh my God, this is like this is like a snuff film." We're like, "This isn't a movie. This is a snuff film." Because like they were like beating the living snot out of him. Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, Mel Gibson, what do you got against Jesus? My God, Mel Gibson. I mean, that was a really brutal movie.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, let me just run down my my news tracker here. So we've got another 7 years planned for The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Which is, I saw it split. It's really has split the community because there are those that are like, oh, the show sucks. The show is nothing like the comic. It really, really sucks.
It doesn't suck.
And then there are those that are like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever.
I don't know that we need 12 years of it. I don't know how long. Well, I don't know how long the comic's going to go. Who knows? I mean, if you got an open-ended comic, why would you limit yourself on the series?
Right.
You know?
Well, looking here at followingthenerd.com, which is where we are, like I said, they put up last week's episode. Go watch. It doesn't look like the podcast link worked. They got the YouTube link, but if you need the podcast, podbean.com/panel-to-panel-FTN is where you can.
But finish watching this one first.
Yeah, you gotta watch this one first and that one. Game of Thrones, Brian Cogman is going to pen Magic the Gathering, a movie franchise on the Magic the Gathering that was put up by a good friend.
Magic the Gathering movie.
Yeah.
How's that going to come off?
Hopefully good. That was put up by our good friend Ed Poole. He put that up.
Hey, Ed.
The first trailer for Birdman came out yesterday. Make sure you go check out the first trailer for Birdman starring Michael Keaton. Oh, that's what I want to tell you guys. I was at Target yesterday. You know those DC Universe action figures that they got, and they're like different characters from around the different DC media universes?
Yeah.
They just released the Michael Keaton Batman action figure, the Michael Keaton Batman action figure without the cowl, the Catwoman action figure from Batman Returns, and the Penguin from Batman Returns.
Is like the neck of the cowl all ripped up from where he tore it off at the end?
I think so. Yeah.
You know what? I saw the second Michael Keaton Batman movie the other day.
Batman
Returns.
Returns.
I think the reason that I don't like the first Batman is Jack Nicholson, because I actually think Danny DeVito's a pretty good Penguin, and Michelle Pfeiffer is a great Catwoman. But Michael Keaton, he's actually really good as Batman, and I think the second one's better than the first one.
Jules, have you let? Jules, I know Batman Returns is a little bit darker. I mean, I saw it in theaters, and that first scene just kind of was like, oh my god. Is that one you would let Paige or Noah watch yet, or are you waiting on? Or are you gonna hold that off to like teenage years?
No, we did not do the Batman movies, and we did not do the X-Men or Wolverine movies. So, I'm considering letting her watch the Michael Keaton one, because that one's not like.
The first one with Jack Nicholson, not Batman Returns, because he was in both.
Yeah, she hasn't seen any of them.
Batman Returns is, and I'll tell you, I went and saw that. My parents took me to see Batman Returns in the theater, and I think I was young. That came out 90, 91, something like that, 92. It came out around early 90s.
I'm probably, I think I'm about a decade older than you, Spin, almost. And I'm older I think I'm the oldest person on the show anymore, but I was like in high school when that movie came
1992.
out.
Batman Returns came out in 1992.
Yeah, I was a junior in high school when that movie came out.
So the trailer before that movie was Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one with Keanu Reeves and Gary Oldman.
I took a date to that movie.
And the whole trailer was just blood dripping down a stone wall. And I was like, well, is this Batman? What's going on with the blood in Batman? But no, that was a good movie. But yeah, the toys are now at Target. I saw them at Target. So you can go get Michael Keaton Batman.
How about Christopher Reeve's Superman? They're going to come out with that?
They haven't come out with that one yet. They did have Terrence Stamp Zod.
Really?
Yeah, they had a Terrence Stamp Zod action figure, the old school Zod.
Nice.
Awesome. The Limey. That's what
they might have a Christopher Reeve Superman. If they have Zod, they probably do have Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, they got to. Well, maybe not. Did they have the other two? They have the other two villains. I
don't know. I didn't see it. No, what Ursa and Non?
Yeah.
I'd like an Ursa toy. I
used to have the Superman 2 lunchbox when I was a kid.
Let's see. There's a trailer for Penguins of Madagascar. So many good things. But that's all the time we have.
We're just talking about movies now, people.
Pretty much. Make sure you follow all of the other stuff that Panel to Panel crew has to offer, all of our side projects, such as Chickcast from Jules and the ladies over there as they talk about
Comics and stuff.
Comics and stuff. Pecs. Showers.
Video games.
Video
I've listened.
games.
Video game talk.
Cupcakes. The Walking Dead. Listen to it for Jules, because we love Jules, and that's on Podbean too as well. Chickcast on Podbean.
Allison and Corey are very nice too.
Oh, they're all great girls. And Jules. Jules is there. Go for Jules. We love Jules. We love Jules. You can check out Panda over on Comic Time, who's been I think she has lived in Midtown Comics this whole week.
She's been there like 4 times.
Panda will tell when Panda's back on the show. We will get an in-depth review of a cupcake ATM.
All of New York, hopefully.
All of New York.
Here's the thing. I was talking to Panda about this, and I said, New York must not be as exciting as like Marvel makes it out to be, because like in Marvel, like the Mole Man's like burrowing up to the street, and there's like explosions going on, and Spider-Man's swinging through. I mean, that doesn't happen in New York. And, I also asked her why she hasn't gone to the original site of like where Marvel is, where everything was created, everything we love was created in that city. And I suggested that today she go find Marvel.
It shouldn't be hard to find. I found it on Lego Marvel in New York.
I mean, it's gotta be. I'm not even sure where they're actually. If they're in the same building they were back in the day with Kirby and Lee.
It's right by the Daily Bugle. It's right by the Daily Bugle. I mean, literally.
The Daily Bugle was here.
Yeah, you should have gone to You should have gone and found Aunt May's house. And the Baxter Building and Stark Tower. You would think New York. You know what? We're gonna save this for next week because we don't have a guest next week, right?
I don't think so. I think we're free and clear next week, unless Jules has somebody.
Next week, we're going to go in depth into how New York could could be a better city because of Marvel. I want to talk about that next week because we're running out of time. But we're going to talk about that next week. But check out Comic Time Panda. Check out her show Comic Time on YouTube. Make sure you follow Uni with Cosplay with a Brain. Make sure you check out Megan with the sideshow Sirens and Megan Ashley. Chief and I have launched a new venture, Space Dash Productions. This is where you'll see our side projects that we do.
Yep, I put my first video up today.
It's the new home of our show now on DVD, which we do have an episode up currently where Chief and I take a look at the 1999 film Beowulf, starring Christopher Lambert.
Go watch it. It's funny.
It's also the new home of Space Chief Rants. So you can catch Space Chief Rants on there. And soon you'll have my show, Retro Spin, where I play retro video games. So that is facebook.com/Space-Productions. Follow all of us on Twitter, @Spin-Review, @SpaceChief75, @JulesHendricks, @Rainbow_Sarah, @KOIENGI. I always spell out Uni. Koingi. Quingy. EU Deadpool, Megan Land. Follow all of us on Twitter. Make sure you follow Bruce Zick on Twitter so you can get all the latest on the Kickstarter and all the books.
Shout out to Chamar Stain. Go follow him too on Twitter, just because I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, where is Chamar? We need to go find Chamar.
Chamar lives in Chicago. Chamar needs to be here on the show with me sometime.
He needs to just come and sit on the couch.
Back here.
He just needs to come and sit on the couch. So make sure you check back next week on followingthenerd.com, where you'll be able to get the video and the podcast. You can find us on YouTube, and you can find us at Podbean/panel FTN. Once I get this off, put a little theme music in there, and we will be kicking some good rear end. So until next week, we thank you, Bruce Zick. Thank you for everybody who watched the show tonight. So from all of us to all of you and to all the ships at sea, good afternoon. Put that down. I'm going to kill you. Good evening and good night.